wonderfuls. Welcome back to Helpers High by me, Tiffany, where real life magic meets honest reflection. So let's do a quick recap of how we got here. Because you've been riding this Helpers High wave with me this entire time, and you already know we've been on quite a journey, right? A lot of self reflection and talking to ourselves, hopefully, is happening. But here's what I know in week 7. Oh my God. Yes, it's absolutely satisfying my soul, serving my purpose. I told you what my gift was, and I truly believe that I'm helping to spread joy, at least spark some thoughts and awakening emotions in our Helpers High family. So I've created a space where we can actually ask, can we do more? Should we be doing more? Where we take back our power, stop blaming, and start taking ownership of what we're actually in control over. So, all of that, of course, while giving ourselves grace as we heal and continue to move forward. We've also been reflecting on who we are. So, what it looks like to level up should be top of mind for you now. We've began to question our choices, what we actually allow, what brings us joy. And we started this ride in episode 1. When I started the podcast, we started talking about confidence because it is definitely a must in order to continue the life that we want. Then we went on to trust, trusting in others, trusting in ourselves. We went on to knowing our worth when you got compared to a water bottle. Vulnerability is a skill. Learn that too. And then, of course, success and what that means like to each of us individually, and those Tiffany moments that hit us like a gut to the stomach and makes us pay attention to what we're doing. So now here we are in this episode where we're going to be talking about habits that we stop questioning. In order to get to the level of success that we're asking for, we have to start questioning the habits that sometimes leaves us exhausted, it leaves us bored, and maybe even stuck. Habits that not only impact us, but impact the people in our lives. But we keep them because they're familiar. And familiarity is always easier than changing things that we don't want to change. So we're going to call them out. We're going to stop pretending that we don't have these habits. So we're going to address habits that we need to start. Maybe we don't have them yet. Habits that we need to stop because not only are they impacting us, but people around us, and habits that we need to continue because they're already healthy and they feel good, serving their purpose already. So, you ready to get into it? Awesome. Let's do it. Behaviors and habits, sneaky but powerful, and both can actually quietly shape our lives without our permission. So let me start by defining them. Not that we don't know what a behavior or a habit is, but I want to make sure that we're on the same page. It's got us this far so far, right? So a behavior is often a one-time action, usually triggered by either stress or emotions, and it can be conscious or unconscious. Like snapping at somebody when you're overwhelmed or hungry. So, the Snickers commercial. Calm down, Betty White. Have a Snickers bar. That is a behavior. Not intentional, kind of snuck up on you. And then all of a sudden now you're walking around snapping on people because you're hungry. Just eat. A habit is a behavior that we repeat so often that it becomes automatic. It's part of our routine. It's helpful, but it could be harmful as well. Like starting our day with social media. I don't know how many of you check that phone before you even start to really wake up, before you thank God for waking up, before you start looking forward to your day. We don't plan to do it. It's just, again, a habit. We reach for the phone, it happens. Our thumbs know where the Instagram page are, and before we know it, we're in some type of weird scrolling pattern. Or apologizing for something that you have no business for apologizing for. Like, sorry, I have a question. You don't need to be sorry that you have a question. Just ask the daggone question. Or my habit, which My husband hates hitting that snooze button at least 2 times before I actually get out of the bed. You know what I do actually? I set the clock 18 minutes earlier than I need to get up for just so I can hit it twice. But let's be honest. Here's the facts. What we are not changing, we're choosing. So sit with that for a second. That behavior that we keep brushing off with, that's just how I am. Like I just said about hitting the snooze button. That habit that no longer serves us, but we say, it's not that serious. Yep, it's our choice. It is my choice to set the alarm clock wrong so that I can hit snooze twice. Yeah, giving multiple chances to someone who keeps disrespecting us. That's wrong, but it's our choice. And saying we want to build wealth, but never learning from those who have the amount of wealth that we want. Yep, our choice. So if you're broke and you're not doing that, you're broke because you want to be. Because both actions and inactions are decisions that we make, so they're our choice. And sometimes our choice is suffering. So while we don't have to shame ourselves, we do have to be honest because when we name it, we can actually change it. We all have behaviors, there's no doubt about it. How we respond to stress is a behavior. How we react when someone sets a boundary that we maybe don't agree with is our behavior. How we show love, our behavior. How we walk into the room, fill it with our presence, our behavior. Our emotions, our upbringing, our experiences all shape our behaviors. And sometimes it grows us, but sometimes it limits us. Overworking, avoiding rest, hiding our needs when we really need help. Also, habits. But there's good habits like drinking water, praying, self care, believing in yourself, confidence, all good habits. So we don't need to change all habits. We just need to kind of focus on the ones that we have and revisit all of them to ensure that they're kind of taking the journey with us. So let me give you a habit of mine that I have now as an adult. And it started in my Tiffani years when I was a kid. So I told you guys in one of the episodes before that my mom was a charge nurse. So she would work doubles and made my sister, my brother, and I really self sufficient in the way that we do things. But she was also a little touch of crazy. So there was one night, it had to be after midnight because she obviously worked a double and she wasn't home yet. And I'm sleeping, knocked out in my bed. And she wakes me up. Why is she waking me up? I have school, right? She wakes me up and she's like, Tiffani, Tiffani, Tiffani. So I'm groggy, getting into it. And she goes, there's a cup in the sink. What? What are you talking about? There's a cup in the sink? Lady, are you crazy? I knew better than to say that out loud, but of course I was thinking that. So I did what any child of Elena would do. I got up and I went downstairs and I washed that glass. Now, let me just say, it's after midnight. I'm like 8 years old. There's a glass in the sink. You saw it. You came upstairs. You woke me up. What is happening? But that is a pattern of something that I now have as a habit. Cleaning is next to godliness. It's what Elena would have said. I hear it. I know it. I learned that way. She had some strict rules with cleaning and school and so forth, and I absolutely passed that off to my kids. I passed it off to one of the two of them more successfully than the other. Shout out to Anthony. He's 20, you know. But some habits, again, are inherited, and some of them make perfect sense as to how we continue to do it and why it just enriches our lives and makes our lives better. So, cleaning the house is definitely one of them. But I also know some of the habits that she probably not only developed herself, but got from her parents. And wearing dirty clothes or clothes with holes in it, wrinkles, all things that she would have definitely expected us to never do. She always had a lot of style. So I feel like that's a habit that I inherited as well. I like a good accessory if you guys haven't noticed yet. So I can trace some of these behaviors, and I'm sure that you have behaviors and habits that you can trace too. They're pretty much legacy. We've owned them, and some of them we really do want to keep. So we're good with those. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Recently, I had to check myself on what I consider a not good habit, and it was just overdue. It was time. So during the pandemic, a lot of things changed for all of us. But at work, we had to kind of fill in these gaps. I realized just recently that I was still waking up in the middle of the night, as I told you guys, ready to jump into fix it mode, checking my emails and ready to solve the world's problems like we still needed to do that. And all of this was still being continued, which is not the bad habit, but the bad habit was I wasn't checking on me. I wasn't listening to those Tiffany moments. This podcast is really where I started listening to those Tiffany moments, where I knew better and I was just avoiding it. So sometimes what we're actually avoiding is ourselves, because looking inwards means that we have to face parts of us that we ignored, that we judged, that we know doesn't serve us joy. Looking in the mirror because we don't want to see that reflection of who we've become, and sometimes performing what we think everybody else wants, avoiding stillness. And that clarity might ask us to change who we are. So now listen, I don't know about you, but for me, avoiding myself, nah, I'm good with me. Avoiding the mirror, well, heck, I told you already, that's impossible for the spaces that I live in. But stillness, ooh, you got me. I hate too quiet, racing thoughts and things that I can't actually fix. There's just mind games going on. Nope. I'm like, Alexa, play music. Oh, I thought she might have heard me. I'm like, a matter of fact, let me sing and dance around the house until I'm too tired to hear my own thoughts, because stillness, that brings questions and reminders of decisions that I've been putting off, and accountability to the one person that I'm actually scared of, myself. You know why? Because no one knows what I said I wanted. So no one else can really hold me accountable except me. So when I'm alone with those thoughts, I have to check them, live like I really mean it. I'm like, look around. You know the answer. We have to evolve. We're allowed to change our minds from what we used to need. We're allowed to retire behaviors that once kept us safe, but now keep us stuck. And we don't owe an apology to anyone, not our family, not our coworkers, not even the older version of ourselves that we used to be, that clung to those habits for dear life. We don't owe it. So for me, it's like, would you like mustard? No, Grey Poupon, please. But let's talk about a common behavior. Some call it peace or avoiding conflict. Hmm. This one calls for an intervention of some sort, because avoidance is not peace. It's the delay of truth, clarity, and resolution. It's a ticking time bomb dressed up in some type of pig with lipstick on it. Anyway, we've been told again to not rock the boat, but sometimes that boat is sinking and you're not doing anything about it, even though you caused it. I just told my husband this morning that joke where I'm a great driver, but what happens in my rearview mirrors is a lot of accidents that I've avoided. It usually means that we're protecting ourselves while causing confusion to everybody else. It sends ripples, it sends confusion, resentment, misalignment. Again, all bad things. But here's the twist: some of the people avoiding conflict are the ones that we're looking to for direction, that are responsible for our safety, for our truth. Let me call them out. Check the box. Heads of households. That's you, babe. Our bosses. Our moms, our dads, our pastors, our mentors, our government. So let's not confuse being quiet with care or avoidance with maturity, people pleasing using leadership as a model. We don't need more peacekeepers. We need more people who are truth tellers with compassion, with empathy, with sympathy. People willing to speak love in those moments. People willing to be misunderstood for a blip in time because they understand that the long term helps all of the people who depend on them. So, listen, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's actually going to be quite uncomfortable. But that's what courage is, and it's a good habit. The more that we practice courage, whether it's speaking up, showing up, or just telling the truth, those are behaviors at first, but it becomes a habit of self respect. So even when it's hard, even when it's messy, and even when we shake while doing it, do it anyway. Make it be one of the proudest habits that you have. Now, if you're a bit bolder, and I may know someone like this, you may be asking, why would anyone hesitate to add courage as a new habit? And it's because everything that got us here is familiar. It's what we've done, and I'm going to say honor it. But what got us here won't get us there. If we truly want to grow, we're going to have to accept that we may need to change some things in our lives. We may need to change our behaviors, our habits, our relationships, and even how we see ourselves. So I hope you're agreeing and saying, damn, Tiffani, that's so true, because it is. But now I have to ask, what could possibly be holding us back since we know it's true? It's that nasty, loud, jealous, self sabotaging, debilitating word, the F word. No, not that one. The one quietly running this show in the back of our minds at all times, changing our behaviors and our habits and really messing with us. It's fear. Yes, we hold on to fear. It makes us question everything about ourselves. We start questioning, are we really enough? What if I fail? Who do I think I am? What if I lose everything? Been there. What if I get it wrong? What if I try and it doesn't work? Do I even deserve this? So instead of facing fear, we stay quiet. We stay agreeable, which keeps us the same, and that's how we end up stuck. We call it peace, we call it loyalty, we call it consistency. We make up good names again to allow it to live. And fear, make no mistakes about it. It has probably saved us from one or two experiences in our lives, maybe even more, that if we would have jumped in wholeheartedly, we would have lost. But the truth is, we had more opportunity to win where fear held us back, and we didn't because we stayed familiar. We stayed with what we knew. It's time to again start playing the odds. We hold on to old habits, not because we love them, but because we fear the unknown, the not guaranteed. That's human. That's what we're going to do. It's the safe space that we put for ourselves. But to grow, we're going to have to play the odds, which are actually more in our favor than we make ourselves believe. We're going to need to face fear. We're going to have to bet on ourselves. We're going to have to bet on our faith. We're going to have to bet on the fact that we've survived 100% of our worst days. And not just survive them. We grew, we stretched, we learned, we rebuilt, which means there's proof that we can do the hard things. So if fear needs evidence, our lives are already the receipts. We've already done the impossible. That's how we made it here. Every time we were told that we couldn't, every time we didn't see the path, every time we didn't know the answer, we made it. That's how we got here. It's time to bet on ourselves. So when we actually say we're ready, our bet will pay off. Let's talk about another habit, the B word. Okay, wait, can I be honest? I do love the B word. Not the one that we're going to talk about, but the female dog one. It's a term of endearment to my girls. It's a term of disgust when I'm not happy about something. It's a term of surprise. So much functionality in one word. It's so good. Okay, but I digress. Let's talk about the word that I actually hate that also is in a lot of our habits: busy. Too many of us are saying the word busy like it's some type of badge of honor, like it makes you important, like it makes you productive, like it makes you effective. It means none of that. It just means that you're in motion. So cool, you're busy. But is it purposeful? Because if it's not moving you towards your purpose, then it's just noise. So let me say this clearly: busy is not the flex that you think it is. So please stop telling people how busy you are. Sometimes we're not busy because we're doing too much. We're busy because we're doing the wrong things, things that no longer are within our calling, our values, our vision. So maybe you're using busy to be your mask, but underneath it, you're tired, you're unfulfilled, you're running in circles, checking boxes that don't even belong to you anymore. It's becoming what used to be a behavior formed as a habit now. So instead of questioning how I should manage my time, let's start asking, why are we even doing this? Because when we continue to do things that no longer serve our purpose, no longer take us into our future, we start spinning our wheels. So, what does that look like? Now, because you weren't fulfilled, you're adding more work to your day. So now you have the things that you have to do and the things that you want to do because that's what's going to bring you joy. But the two of them combined are making you busy and sometimes even overwhelmed. It's just misalignment. Maybe you know someone like this. They've been at the job so long, they pretty much came with the building. They used to be the MVP, they used to carry the weight, they were the go to for everyone. But then the clients changed, the employees changed, the system changed, the business changed, and they didn't change. They held on to hoping that things would go back to the way it used to be. I don't know about you, but I still have people waiting for it to go back to pre pandemic, pre COVID. But guess what? It's not going back. That's not where we are anymore. That's never where we're going back. So now they're bitter, they're disconnected, they're misunderstood. And guess what? Most of their coworkers only know this version of them. Everyone didn't come with the building. Some people just got here. So they're meeting you as this person, meeting them, sorry, as this person. Freudian slip. The version that's stuck, unhappy, or doing everything but their actual job. And guess what? They're being judged for who they are today in this environment. Einstein says it best: if we judge a fish by his ability to climb a tree, we'll believe that the fish has no skills at all. That's what happens to these people. They're being judged in the motions that they're living in today. So, chance of a promotion? Doubt it. The odds of starting over somewhere else fresh? Also doubt it. So they quit, but they stay. Again, not because they love it, but because it's familiar. Now it's their habit, and now it's impacting us. Everyone sees it. The peers, the leaders, the partners, everyone sees it. And no one says a word. So what happens? They keep showing up. Low morale for all, toxic vibes, and misalignment is contagious. So, before we point fingers too long, let's check our own habits. So, let's be brave enough to ask, is the way that we're working actually working? Am I doing work that actually lights me up? You know, there's a reason that you came here. There's a reason that you applied. There's a reason that you work in this environment. There's a reason that you're in the relationships that you're in, how they started. Remember the, what do they call it, babe? I don't know. That was 32 years ago. What's those days when the relationship is like the honeymoon phase? Oh, okay. You forgot to? Those habits that we choose. Now, listen, if it's no longer bringing us that type of joy, then we have to know that it's time to revisit. So, yes, sometimes you're just staying because you're comfortable. And guess what? We can't just blame the people around us, our jobs, the relationships, any of these things, not even our emails. If we are doing it, we're allowing it to be done to us. Let's begin to focus on being clear, being present, and being purposeful, not busy. Maybe it's time to take off the mask because underneath it, we're burnt out, disconnected, or distracted from what truly matters. So, again, ask yourself, is your work fueled by intention? Is your relationships fueled by intentions or full of habits that you just stop questioning? Let me give you a joke that actually cracks me up every time. It's a great example of when we stop reminding ourselves of how habits start. So, a woman's cooking a ham and her husband's standing by. Before she puts it in the oven, she cuts off the ends off of the ham. And he says, "Why'd you do that?" And she goes, "That's the way my mom always did it. It's delicious." So he calls her mom on the phone and he's like, "Why do you cut off the ends of the ham before you put it in the oven?" And she says, "That's the way my mom always did it. It's delicious." So he calls grandma and says, "Why do you cut off the ends of the ham before you put it in the oven?" And she said, "Oh, honey, I cut off the ends because I didn't have a pot big enough to fit that ham." So this cutting off the ends of this ham actually carried 3 generations, not out of need, not out of logic, out of following a habit. Repeat, copy, doing things on autopilot, again, never questioning. We do that. Or sometimes, again, we have fear to ask. So we again stay silent. Let's do our helper's high pulse check. Ready? Is fear keeping you quiet in any of your relationships? Do you have a habit that doesn't align with your goals that you just continue to do? And do you believe that you'll need to make some changes, adjustments to get to your next level? Have you used the word busy to avoid something that you did not want to do? Okay. If you've said yes to most of those, then you know what time it is. Time to really dig deep. Changing habits takes time. Nobody's questioning that. It's like planting seeds. So there's always going to be a delay between our planting of the seed and our harvest. But today is our invitation, a loving invitation. We all want to be happy. I don't know anyone who's ever said no to that. But we have to look at our routines. We have to check our habits. We have to question our behaviors. And we have to ask ourselves, what should we start? What should we stop? What should we continue? Because you just may find out that you've been cutting off parts of your purpose to fit in a pan that you've already outgrown. Yes. Oh my God. Well, together we make magic. One step at a time, Helpers High family. We got this. See you on the next episode of Helpers High.